All right, welcome back into Indiebnb. In a weirdly different setup, it's not the Indiebnb that you see today. Usually, it's a a little bit more of a live, more intimate setting. But I am a guest of Mr. Michael Hitchcock in his home here. Michael, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, Grant.
Awesome, man. Well, you have gotten into a lot of different. We're in a room full of guitars. We're in a room full of recording equipment. You also have your own project, though, and
Yes.
that is Dune Lane.
Yes.
So we're here to talk a little Dune Lane today, get into, y'all's upcoming single, Fresh Paint, that's out here when you're listening to this May 23rd, November. I don't know when what we're getting. We're getting the full album's coming in November, right?
We're going to go with that. I keep
Yeah.
telling people, we're working on it. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Well, yeah, we'll talk through some of that, but Michael, I mean, you've got all of this recording equipment in here. What's going on in here? What is this place?
So we actually just moved in here about 2 weeks ago, if you can even believe it. But this is the home of Argyle Records. This is my recording studio. And it's just a place for artists in the Atlanta or the Southeast just sort of find their sound. Trying to create a very comfortable place here, very inviting environment where people can flesh out ideas and songs and just really finish a project here. I do a lot of mastering, a lot of mixing, and bands that want to record here, it's always case by case. We see if it's a good fit. Some people, it's like you really find that some people are like really, really fun to work with for me, and then like they wouldn't be good with somewhere else, and a lot of that vice versa. It's a lot of that kind of weird relationship building, and we found like Eric and Perfect Animal and the Cobanova Boys and a bunch of other guys. Like when it works, it just kind of works. And that's what's been a lot of fun to discover here. But I also do have a project of my own called Dune Lane. Yeah.
Dune Lane. Well, I mean, let's talk first. Like I always look at the, did you grow up on Dune Lane?
So that comes from my great granddad built one of the first houses on Hilton Head Island, and it was on Dune Lane. And my family sold that house 3 years ago, and they tore that thing down as soon as they sold it, which was very sad. And I was like, well, at least it can live on a little bit in a band name. And I, at the time, right then, was like, it was my name, it was the Michael Hitchcock Band. And for some reason, I just couldn't get behind that. It didn't feel real to me. And the boys I play with, all these Augusta guys, they're just my best friends, are just absolute insane musicians. They bring every bit of their own soul to this project, and I write the words, but it's most of the words. But if I sat down with Ethan and we wrote a song, like, oh my word, that's just as much part of the project. It feels like a band, not a solo project, for sure. Gotcha.
Well, I mean, obviously, Fresh Paint coming out soon. I mean, now talk to me through with all the things you have going on, like Dune Lane being the a couple of within that, like do you take from other people, like when they come in here and see a process that you like will you apply that to what you do with Dune Lane?
Oh man, I'm learning all the time. You can learn something from everybody that comes in here, and it's like your gut reaction is to just do what you know, but really if you sort of open it up to go, oh, why did they do that weird way? Or why did they insist on doing it this weird way? It's like, normally if you go yes and with artists or creatives or musicians or whatever, instead of, no, we should just do it this one way with this one mic or this one voicing or whatever. Like you kind of have to let them flesh it out with a mixture of direction. And I think it all comes out at the project. The Dune Lane thing, man, it's funny. I love working on other people's stuff. It feels like it's fallen to the side in the last 4 years. And I certainly asked for it. I love mixing. I love making records. And it's just, it all provides a way to learn from itself. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you mentioned, obviously the single coming out here and Fresh Paint, which seems aptly named. I mean, like for that song, it'll be our song Spotlight today. Like what, where did it come from? Is it something from, a few years ago? Is it something that you guys, wrote recently? Where is this, fresh coat of paint coming from?
Yeah, man. It was more of a recent write for me. Unfortunately, I haven't been writing as much in the last year of my life as probably before. Like we were talking a little bit earlier about burnout and road burnout and sort of pulling back. Another reason why I've been in the studio so much, but it was one of those songs that just happened. I'm sure you've heard people talk like that. It's like, oh, it just came out of me that one day. The lyrics and the guitar part, probably 20 minutes, honestly, from start to finish. Maybe change a few words here and there after the fact, and then just sort of watching it come together. We record everything one take. So we get the drums, bass, and acoustic guitars live with, a scratch vocal, and then we'll overdub the little things. But that's where it comes from. It's just us in a room. It starts there with the recording. We probably played it live a few times before then, but it came together really quickly. It was one of those really natural ones. Everyone was sort of able to just find their place in it really easily.
Now, does everybody member of Dune Lane? Like when y'all got together for that project, like did everybody come in and like have ideas for the piece, or
these are James Brown, Savannah River musicians. These guys show up and they heard it in a past life. That's how they play music. Shout out Ethan Balducci, who is also Alto Pablo, Andrew Fowler, Indiana Jones Music, the best drummer in the Southeast. I'll fight anyone on that. Ethan Stallings, just a savant of a guitarist. Ethan Stallings Group. He's got his own band. TJ Barnes, Thomas, man, that guy can play the keys. And those are the boys. Yeah. Really love those
of course,
guys.
Michael Hitchcock on some guitar as well, which I have seen personally, in when we hosted the show for Perfect Animal a couple weeks ago, and we saw you pick up the axe and really provide some bravado to that set. So,
man, those guys are fun. Like that project came to me, and I was like, this is so different and so good for me, and I'm so like proud of what it became. Like, Eric pushed me hard in the best ways. Yeah.
Some of our favorite folks that are around this scene, and just some good guys giving us opportunities to get drunk on stage and give the crowd some fun.
Y'all were hilarious.
Some fun between the set list. But
you guys hosted that whole night like champs. No one even saw it coming. They're like, "What is this?"
No, you don't see it often. And whenever we got to do it last year for Pacifico's album release, they let us do that. And so shout out Pacifico and Perfect Animal for letting us get in there and host a little bit. But want to talk through the kind of the nuts and bolts for new paint. Like, I mean, what are we talking about there as far as like you said it came out 20 minutes. Like did you, as somebody who mixes for a living, is it something that you can definitely start to tinker too much with, or like do you think like where do you have to draw the line for yourself on that?
That goes back to your question earlier about what have you like learned from other projects. It's like under process, man. If it doesn't, if I throw 3 plugins on something, I go, that's like a checkpoint. Like, okay, anything more than that better be really wonky and weird and get it somewhere, or we're doing too much. And oftentimes it's like, I go back into a song. If I get tired of a song, I put it down for a month, go back in and just rip everything off of it. Start again. Oftentimes really shows you where the weak points are, so you might want to retrack something or look at it again. But like that one for sure, you can overprocess things to death. And the whole point to me was just like the acoustics have to breathe on the side, so don't muddy it up. And what allowed me to do that is the simplest, what feels like the most elementary guitar tone I've ever used for an electric guitar. It's just a telly through a deluxe reverb, one mono mic, and I don't even think I was meaning to lay down the real track that day. I was just feeling tones out, and it sounds so small when it's soloed, but in the context of the song, it's exactly what it needs to be. And that's never what I would do. My gut would never be to do a tone like that or to approach it like that, but things just kind of have to work. You have to let them work. You have to let parts and things serve themselves, so you can really overdo things. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I often ask artists, like, do you think about the live show when you are creating? And, I can see how, I talked to somebody a couple weeks ago and they were like, yeah, like I see it as very, very big. However, my live show is not as big yet. So when you do like create something, like this song, like how are you thinking about those types of things as how
we
you're
have to be
play?
able to do it on stage. Have to be able to do it on stage. At least do it justice on stage. Yeah. We have a mandolin player, David. He came in, incredible Atlanta bluegrass guy. I hope to get him back in for the record on some other songs too, banjo, mandolin, all that kind of stuff. We can't have him regularly. We're not that fortunate, but there is enough going on stage where it's like, no, Stallings will make up a different part to replace that. Like that's how these guys work. It always has to be able to be executed on stage and hold its own. I come from that world. We did a lot of cover band stuff. We were talking about that earlier. Like we cut our teeth on stage doing it live. It's going to sound cool on the record, but it's going to sound real because we're going to be able to do it live.
Got it. Now you mentioned like, for this band, you guys have really grinded on the road, a lot of different places. I always ask about the set list, coming from there, how do you mix in originals whenever you mentioned like 6 hours in Nashville, you're sitting there, you're playing all country covers, like, for this band specifically, like how'd you create the set list, and do y'all mainly play covers or mainly play originals now, or is it kind
that
of
is the goal? I recently just had that epiphany in my own life of like, man, I'm tired. Like these traveling to Savannah to play for 4 hours in the middle of the night, like it's just it's fun and it's good for you, but it's like we got to a certain point with our set where it's like, yeah, we could play all these old country tunes, all these old Jimi Hendrix, all this, anything like anything a drunk person yells out in a bar, we could play. And so you do that enough and you're like, okay, well, there's a ceiling here. There's an obvious ceiling. Now you can make a lot more money at that ceiling right there doing that cover stuff than most people doing original stuff ever make. But there's still a ceiling. If you do the original thing and you do it right and you give people something to latch on to, there's a lot of potential energy there. And that's what we're going for. It's all of my guys play in 5 different bands, like, and that's including myself at times. And just we've all been there, and we're all sort of now realizing in our own projects we're sort of having to guard ourselves, expend our own efforts a little less, and really work on refining the sounds. Yeah,
I'm sure being in so many projects, like you can get to a point where you're like, man, like does stuff ever blend over and be like, oh crap, like I feel like I wrote that for Dune Lane, but it ended up pushing into this other project. Like,
it's funny you say that. Not in mine, because so like mine and Alto Pablo and all this stuff, like I've had Ethan from Alto Pablo send me something. He's like, this could be a Dune Lane song, and that happens because he's way more creative than me. But when I write stuff, it tends to just feel like my hands, my chords, and it wouldn't serve Alto Pablo as well, and certainly not Stallings. Man, that guy can play like jazz fusion, like just it's insane. But all that to say is like, yes and no. Like it all serves itself because we're all very intentionally coming. So like when they come to my project, they have to turn on a different part of their brain, and when I go to their project, I have to turn on a different part of my brain, and that's where the magic lives, honestly.
Gotcha. Well, some of those places, I want to get back to touring there. Like some of those places you've been, you mentioned Oxford, Mississippi, when we were talking before. Like, what are some of those venues? Some of those, you get any good stories from those?
The KA frat house, man.
The later nights in those places.
Yeah, we did a gig downtown. It was it was a few years ago. I can't even remember the name of the venue. We love Oxford, though. We love the people there. We've played at a few fraternities there. Good grief, man! Those people know how to throw down, and it's fun. They love good music. That's just it's a great college town, man. That people there really just want to have a good time, and it's not as necessarily, for lack of a better word, honestly difficult as Athens, because Athens has become, again, for lack of a better word, a little bit of a miniature Nashville when it comes to music, like how it works and how they schedule people and all that stuff. Oxford still has that little bit of like a happy anxiety around, oh, this person's coming here this week. Like there's nothing else to do other than go see these 2 or 3 bands that are playing. There's that hype around the scene. We love that energy.
Love that.
Savannah's fun too, man. Savannah's a great time.
Where in Savannah are y'all playing?
Barrel House South. We've done a few shows there. We're trying to get more into just the original scene and kind of book shows with more bands, do stuff like that. Because whereas we used to do these long sets, at least personally, I'm excited to sit back, do an hour set with a couple other bands on a bill or another band on the bill, get into that world a little more. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, a ton of, now are you planning these trips and like, a ton of, obviously logistics that go into doing something like that. So are we doing like a night in Macon, then we're doing a night in Savannah?
Ideally, it's been actually a year since I've attempted any kind of planning like that, because that's the kind of stuff that burns you out.
Yeah.
It's just like, you have to be your own manager. One, I don't want one. I know I am my own manager, but that stuff gets tiring, and especially when you're in here working on records. I do the podcast thing full time for other people, and it gets a little bit like, okay, where's the effort coming from? And right now I'm focusing on stocking up music, like investing in our sound, because that's my weakness. I hit the road so hard, we did the stage thing so hard, we got that part of it, and all my guys got that. What I've learned from Alto Pablo, Perfect Animal, especially Perfect Animal, man, it's just like, have a bank. You can't like run out of music. Like, yeah, you can go and get good on stage and play the best version of a song anyone's ever heard, but until you actually have something to say with your own voice, like, and a bank of stuff to back that up, you're not going to be able to do anything.
So Fresh Coat of Paint, is that something that's like, we're building the bank up? What's the, for the next?
Fresh Paint definitely feels like the song is, it's about the road, it's about substance, and it's about how are we actually going to carry ourselves going forward. Yeah.
I like it. Well, I mean, do we see it as a larger part of a project? We got more to come with
There's plenty of stuff that I just consider not done yet. But yes, more to come.
Love it. We'll hopefully see a tour of that. Maybe we get a little Atlanta show here.
Absolutely.
I think, and then when you're ready to do touring, I got a buddy of mine, Mr. Jameson Tank. He's the master, and so
I love that guy.
You need to hook up with him, and
I've hooked up with him once at a show. We met at least a couple times. He's a great guy.
Yeah, so he's got his own little touring agency, and he's doing it for his own, obviously his own band, which they're in New York, as of today, but. He seemed like he went through that in our last conversation, like really going through how he does the touring and what his strategy is there. Yeah. So pretty interesting. But with that, we'll get a little lighter here. A little Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. 20 questions right in a row. I'll give you the warning that I've been giving other people. The last question is, some bands and some people that we may not know that we ought to check out. So just be thinking about that in the back of your mind as I ask you these silly food questions. Yeah. So Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. 20 questions right in a row. Here we go. Cake or pie?
Oh, pie.
Pie. All right, here we go. Salad or soup?
Salad.
Sunrise or sunset? What are you seeing more of?
What have I seen more of?
What are you seeing more of today?
Wait, hold on. We have to stop. What is this, like a fact, or what do I want more? What do I like more?
What are you seeing more of these days? Sunrise or sunset?
I guess I'm seeing more sunrises. Yeah, more sunrises.
All right. He's up. He's an early riser.
I am an early riser.
I love it. Would you rather hit a home run or score a touchdown?
Touchdown. Because I was a lineman, man. It's like, I was a nose guard. If I ever scored a touchdown, that would have been sick.
Yeah. It's a big moment. All right. Nights in or night out? What are you having more of these days?
Oh, nights in, dude. Yeah, I like to go to shows, but I'm not a crowded bar kind of guy.
Okay. Yeah. No more crowded bars. When you do go out to your favorite dance club, per se, are you more likely to hit the robot or the worm?
Ooh, worm.
Worming.
I'm worming it up, dude. Yeah, you get me loose, I'll get wiggly. Yeah.
I like it. All right. At your favorite Tex-Mex spot, guac or queso?
Oh, it's got to be queso, but my stomach says guac.
Guac?
Yeah.
Okay. You can digest the guac a little bit better. All right, yes. Waffles or pancakes?
That's the hardest question yet, and my gut just has to say pancakes, even though there's waffles out there that top the best pancakes.
Okay. All right. He's pancakes guy. Coffee or tea with your pancakes?
Coffee. Yeah.
Coffee all day. All right. Dogs or cats? Dogs all day. All right. Ninja or pirate? What do you identify more with?
Oh, identify more with a pirate, but I think ninjas are cooler,
Ninjas are cooler.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Gatorade or Powerade?
Gatorade.
Gatorade all day. All right. Toast or bagels?
Oh, another tricky one. I got to go bagels. The threshold's higher. It gets better.
Yeah. Everything. Yeah. Let's go. Chips or pretzels?
Ooh, tricky, weird one. Two very different things. I'm gonna go pretzels.
Pretzels. All right. Soft pretzels are included in that. So
okay,
that's big. That's a big key there. Fries or tots?
That's a big one too. That's a huge, giant spectrum, and I'm gonna go fries.
All right, I'm going fries. I like it. After a long day in the studio, are you more likely to watch a TV show or a movie?
See that? Yeah, probably a TV show. Yeah, after a long day, TV show, but like movies more probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Are aliens real?
Yes, absolutely.
What about Bigfoot?
Probably.
Okay. Is love at first sight real?
Yes.
All right. Love that. And who are a couple bands that we might not know that we ought to check out? Final question, Peepers, part of that.
Bands that I know are Alto Pablo, Ethan Stallings Group, and Perfect Animal, and Cobanova, and I can't even believe I'm blanking. There's so many freaking more awesome people out there in the world. Emmy Teller, Tim Yee, check out Tim Yee. Morg, check out Folk Guy in Town, Mitch Butler. Check out Turnover. That's the first band that I don't personally know. They're an out west, just awesome indie rock band that just sounds incredible. Turnover.
All right, awesome.
Let's go
Well,
with that.
that's a good list for our listeners to go dive into. Hopefully, they've listened to Perfect Animal because we've said it enough, on this podcast and many others. Please check out Fresh Coat of Paint. That'll be in the description below here. If you want to check it out, Fresh Paint. That's all we need. Fresh Paint. It'll be in the description below. Go stream it. Check out Dune Lane. Some of their other stuff will be coming out here. Follow them on Spotify and all those other places, Instagram, that you can get the updates. And we look forward to seeing more Michael Hitchcock out in the world here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Grant. This was fun.
Yeah, thanks, Chad.